There we go, guys, and we are back with you on stream. We had a little bit of a break, and thank you to Zuan and Brenton, who was so amazing. That was really, really cool, and thank you for casting that. So back with you now, Yakisawa from RGB Gaming, and of course I'm here with NSeeker707, professional gaming girl, and also industry expert in esports. Hi, Seeker. Did you have a good lunch?
I did. I got to see a lot of different things at Comic-Con. So if you guys haven't come down yet, please make sure you do come down.
Absolutely amazing. All right, cool, guys. So we are down into the semi-finals, and I believe the next match will be between Crawford Santon and Blue Prep. So we're waiting for the teams to confirm whether they are ready to go, and as soon as they are, then we will bring that game to you. So a couple of exciting games today already. I mean, we have had some really, really cool games, and hey, what a cool game between the Holy Rosary team, right? I mean, it was so close. It was so close. That actually the only game today that has gone to sudden death.
Yeah, it was a really, really close one, and I'm a little sad to see the ladies being knocked out, but they did put up a really good fight and made me proud.
Of course, I mean, you are a spearheading person for girls in gaming specifically, and I mean, that's what esports is all about, right? I mean, we were talking about it earlier this morning, you know, esports being all about inclusiveness, irrespective, you know, race, gender, religion, doesn't matter. Esports is really one of those sports for everyone. So yeah, I mean, it was they played really, really well, went to sudden death, and then unfortunately, you know, got knocked out.
It was a tough one. I was the saddest, I think, out of everybody.
All right. So, guys, we are just checking with the teams whether they are almost ready. As soon as they are ready, we will go to game cam for you and bring you the next game, and that will be between Crawford Santon and Blue Prep. So we're looking forward to seeing that. Both these teams, of course, have fought very, very hard to get to this point, and effectively we only have 4 games left, right? Or maybe 5, depending on. I mean, I have to reiterate again, this is a double elimination today, so you actually have to be knocked out or lose twice before you get knocked out of the competition. Now, so far, Crawford Santon has not lost a match.
And nor has Blue Prep.
So this is a perfect opportunity for us to go to 15 matches, but depending on what happens, either 14 or 15 matches. But again, this is a double elimination, so you have to lose twice to be knocked out. So if it happens that a team ends up in the final that has not lost a single game, there will be a grand final if they only lose in the final, right? Because they still have to be knocked out twice.
Yeah,
So
every
let's see,
team
right?
gets an opportunity to lose once in a double elim. So
Absolutely, and of course, it is. For those of you who are new to esports, it is a international standard. Doing a double elim, especially at a tournament like this, it's also probably I almost want to say the fairest way to determine the best team, right? Because it does give both teams the opportunity to at least absorb one loss and still, prove themselves as a strong team, right?
yeah, definitely.
So, guys, we are checking with our production team whether the teams are almost ready. I think we might go to a short ad break, and when we come back, I think the teams will be ready for us to go ahead and proceed. There we go, guys. So obviously you saw some nice videos there about Comic-Con and what's going on at Comic-Con and things like that. So first of all, we are very, very happy that all of you are joining us here at Comic-Con. It's absolutely amazing. Again, it's the first time ever that this sort of thing is done at a primary school level. We had 16 schools yesterday. 8 of those schools got knocked out. Those 8 schools that progressed through to today, and we are now at a semi-final stage. I believe we are still waiting for one player to load in, and while we are doing that, I definitely think it's worthwhile mentioning our sponsors and the people that have made it possible for us to be here today. So we have a couple of them, and Shiri, as I told you this morning, this is an event that is not possible without our sponsors. So we have to call out these people, Lenovo, Microsoft, Cricket, Everkey, Crosshair, Cooler Master, and of course Rectron, who has a bunch of partners that they brought on board to help us. And I mean, how amazing is that to have people that believe in something like this so much that they pretty much help us to get where we want to be.
Yeah. It's really a really great opportunity as well for sponsors to come on board and actually support the future of esports.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, this is as we stand obviously at the moment within the KidsCon environment. This is primary schools that are partaking, and I mean that is also lovely to see, right? Esports is a thing that's growing. It's not going anywhere. So it's really good to see this happening at a private school level.
Right, but it does look like we are 30 seconds out now from starting out this match. So
perfect.
Super excited to see how these teams are going to do.
Right. I can hear the countdown.
9, 8, 7, 6,
there we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they're off.
And there we go. Teams are out now. And of course, we've got Crawford's Senton, who are in the red, and Blue Prep in the blue as well. So it's going to be interesting because we've got a different map. So these teams don't know this map just yet, but we're going to see how they do on it.
So I see there's some PvP going on. Let's see how the teams progress. I mean, there's a few bots within this map as well. So you will see not only that do the players need to PvP against each other, but they also need to PvP against the bot players that are on this map. I see there's a couple of arrows, but they are really getting into the PvP this time. We're looking at Blue Prep at the moment with 2 players on that bridge area, and they are going at it, trying to keep the other team away from the flags.
Right, so are we still first to 5 now for this one, or is there a different counter?
So on this map, there's actually 11 flags in total.
Okay.
So to be honest with you, though, we have not seen a team today win based on number of flags, right? I mean, it's all been about the PvP, gaining the most amount of flags, and then pretty much keeping the other team at bay. But I mean, what a beautiful map this is, right? I mean, our map builders did a really, really good job in building out this map. This map actually has different levels as well, so you can see if you look past the sort of the top level over here, there's a bottom level that almost looks like an arena area. So absolutely beautiful. And from a player's perspective, I mean, it's you can't really see it from this point of view because we're looking at it from a spectator perspective. But from a player's point of view, a really, really beautiful map to play on, considering that you have to get to these different levels in the map, of course, without trying to die as well, right?
Right, so it looks like Blue Prep has got 1 flag so far, so that puts them in the lead, 1-2 against Crawford. Oh, two flags now for Blue Prep.
So Blue Prep now on a score of 2, so really, really pushing hard here. So let's see if Crawford Sandon can turn this around. There's been a lot of PvP from Crawford Sandon's side. So if maybe they want to, there we go, and Crawford Sandon actually just landed a flag, so the score 2-1 at the moment. So 2 to Blue Prep, 1 to Crawford Sandon. 7 minutes left on this map. Crawford Sandon now need to figure out if they want to continue pushing and gain back that 1 deficit from Blue Prep. Blue Prep on 2 flags, Crawford Sandon on 1. And Crawford Sandon equalizes with a flag, so 2-2 at the moment. This is getting really close. This is what you would expect from teams that end up in the semis, right? It's a very close game.
Yeah, it looks like the teams have actually decided on how their strategy is going to work, and it seems to be working for both of them at the moment.
So we're looking here at the Blue Prep area, and it looks like there are a couple of defenders around that area making sure that Crawford Sandon doesn't come close. But Crawford Sandon with a relentless attack from a PvP perspective down here at the top part of the castle, scoring at the moment 2-2.
Actually, it's 3-2. So Blue Prep has got a third map.
I apologize. I see that now. Blue Prep on a third, and actually just as we say that, they land a 4th. So Blue Prep now
is powering ahead here at the moment.
Blue Prep is onslaughting onto Crawford Sandon's. So we've got 5 minutes and 45 seconds left here. Blue Prep on 4. And we've got Sandon on 2, I think. Let me just double check the score. There we go, confirmed score 4-2 at the moment with Blue Prep on 4, Crawford Sandon on 2. I see that Crawford Sandon has an interesting strategy here, playing on the outside of the map, maybe trying to avoid the PvP from Blue Prep. Blue Prep literally have to maintain the lead at the moment, so if they now decide to guard their area, they have a very, very good chance on this map. But Crawford Sandon with an onslaught. So let's see if the defending can work well. And let's see, we're looking at Crawford Sandon's area, and there are 2 defenders there in the corridor. Sika, what would be your strategy? Would you go with an attacking or a defending strategy?
I think I'd probably stick to a bit of a hybrid model on that, because of course you've got to get your flags to the enemy base. But at the same time, you know, this map is so spread out and multi-level that you actually have to make sure that your base is protected as well, because the guys could come from the top, they could come from below you, and all of that. So you've got to make sure that you got both your bases covered there.
Absolutely. We're doing a quick time check with our production team. The score at the moment, 4-2 for Blue Prep. Crawford Santon in their area at the moment, also making sure they're defending. So they have one player out at the moment, looking for that flag. So we're double checking what the time left is at the moment. There is 9 minutes left on the clock. So there is still a lot of time here for Crawford Santon to make up that deficit. The scoring 4-2 at the moment, with Blue Prep on 4 and Crawford Santon on 2. Now, interesting on this map, Seeker, you also have these little fire pits that are sort of obstructing the views, right? So that smoke, actually, if you are a player and you are playing, you can't actually see through that smoke. So sometimes difficult to see whether the opposite team is already on the parkour section heading up and trying to get some flags. So that makes it very interesting.
So with the time at the moment that, it's a little bit longer than what we had in the previous round. So I think the potential is there for teams to actually get their 6 flags and actually end the game.
Correct. So scoring still the same at the moment, 4-2, 4-4 Blue Prep and Crawford Santon on 2. Now, Blue Prep had an amazingly fast start and now seems to be changing their strategy to play a little bit more cautious in terms of the flag, obtaining those flags. But there is some heavy PvP going on here in the pool area. So let's have a quick look at how Crawford Santon is doing there at the bottom here, also on the opposite side of the pool area, and a lot of PvP action going on. It is a little bit outnumbered for Blue Prep. They decided to get out of there and try and get away from that fight. I'm interested to see where the flag bearers are, but I think there's so much PvP action going on here at the moment. So the scoring still the same. Blue Prep on 4, Crawford Santon on 2.
It seems like the strategy has definitely changed up here. Instead of going for flags, it's more in PvP, sort of trying to keep guys down or keep the guys from going anywhere near the flags and going anywhere near the actual bases.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, of course, the flags are in the corners over there on the second level, so it does require you to go up that water lift to be able to get to those flags, which is not always that easy. But I see there is some players from Blue Prep that just went up that water ladder. And
it is a little bit of a difficult jump there. I think maybe that's why the players have decided just to try and keep the others from going anywhere near it. It's just
correct.
I mean, Blue Prep is in the lead. They have a 4-2 lead at the moment, so they are in a bit of an advantage. So they can take their time and they can just keep the Crawford Santon guys away from their flags.
Absolutely, but now I see what the Crawford Santon team is doing is they are watching that water lift. And as soon as they see a player trying to enter the water lift, they are actually trying to push them away, to hinder them in trying to get to that flag. I believe that the Blue Prep players are actually wanting to try and go for that flag, but they keep getting interrupted by some of the Crawford Santon players keeping them off that mark. And we have had a 5-minute call in our ear, so there's 5 minutes left on this map. Scoring still the same, 4-2 to Blue Prep and 2 to Crawford Santon. Now I can see the Crawford Santon players hanging around here at the water lift, and I think they are trying to make sure that the Blue Prep players do not come close to that water lift at all. So let's have a quick look at whether they are going to continue with that strategy. They do also have some defenders on point. So I saw 3 defenders there with Crawford Santon within their environment. A little bit of PvP going on because there was a Santon player who came into the blue area. And Crawford scored. So the scoring now 1 up. So the Blue Prep still on 4, Crawford Santon came back and gained one more flag, so they're scoring at 3. Baloo Prep at 4. Crawford Santon at 3.
So they are getting a little bit closer, and I think that Baloo Prep has realized this, and I can see they're trying to get up that water elevator as well.
Now I can see what's happening is that it's almost like the Crawford Santon player is chasing away the Baloo Prep player from the water lift and then trying to go up the water lift themselves, right? So it's quite an interesting strategy that these guys have. They are keeping some people there on their home base, so they are also protecting the base at the same time. So it's a pretty good strategy. But we've got some of the Santon players now here trying to get across to get to that flag. If they don't get interrupted, they might have an opportunity to come back at level scoring. 3 minutes left at the moment, so not a lot of time to do it, and that is a very, very difficult jump that they have to do. We also have a Baloo player up there who's going to try the jump, but he gets knocked off from a PvP point of view. And Crawford Santon trying that jump again, not making it this time around. PvP action at the bottom, trying to get each other off that water lift. So here we have a Crawford Santon player now going to try and make that jump across if they get the flag. The scoring still the same at the moment, 4 for Baloo Prep, 3 for Crawford Santon. As the time is starting to run out, I think we're down to probably around 2 minutes.
So close, that jump. It's so close. It's making me anxious.
2 minutes and 30 seconds is the time call. So let's see if they can make... Oh, it's a double. Oh, and that double jump was so close. It was so close. Just didn't make the jump. And I see now here Baloo Prep in protection mode. They've got all 4 their players protecting their lead. Of course, they do have the lead at 4 flags versus 3. So even if Crawford Santon does gain the flag, Baloo has decided that they would try and protect that lead that they have.
But to be honest, it's probably a very good strategy from their side. They are 1 flag up at the moment. All right, so let's have a look as well and see how Crawford Santon is doing. I'm going to see if they're managing to make that jump from the water elevator. They are so close to getting that last flag that's going to equalize them. So if they could just get... Oh, there we go. He made the jump. He made the jump. And now is he going to be able to get that flag back to equalize? Because if he actually equalizes, they're going to go into sudden death. 1 minute left. If Crawford Santon can get there and get past the defenders of Baloo Prep.
If they can get past these defenders.
Exciting.
Oh, look at that, look at that. There's
look at that parkour.
Fighting going on. Can they get past?
Equalized.
And they equalize. They will go to sudden death.
30 seconds. 50 seconds, sorry. 50 seconds.
They will go to sudden death. But Baloo, and in the background, Baloo just put down an additional flag and went to 5.
What an amazing clutch from Baloo Prep there. It was absolutely right in the final seconds, that last
In the final
map.
seconds, as Santon was pushing for that final flag, Baloo picked up the flag and raised it to 5 at the back. With less than 30 seconds remaining, they placed that 5th flag, taking the scoring to 5-4. And what an incredible run there right at the end by Baloo Prep.
Now that is esports. That is esports right there.
That was amazing, and I think if the crowd is watching with us, you have to give that player a hand. That was incredibly well played by both teams. So well played. All right, so guys, that was an amazing play. I mean, literally at the end, there was less than 30 seconds left. Baloo Prep was on 4, Santon was on 3. Santon grabbed the flag, they went for the win. They got there, leveled the scores. We thought it was going to go to sudden death, and I think with about 5 seconds left, Blue Prep placed their fifth flag. Sika, I mean, how close do you want a game to be, right?
No, that was a brilliant clutch. I mean, for Baloo to realize that this was happening and actually send somebody through to go grab that flag and make the run for the end was absolutely amazing.
Absolutely
Well done.
amazing play by these guys. What a wonderful game end. I mean, that's so great. That is what esports is all about, right?
It is.
That's absolutely cool.
Clutching for the win. Clutching for the win.
Absolutely. Right, so guys, that was match 11, of course, happening. With Blue Prep winning, that means that in the lower bracket, the first lower bracket, or match 13 that has been placed, is Crawford Santon. The next game will be between Crawford Lonial and Centennial School, and the winner of that will go through to the upper bracket final, and the losing team will go to the lower bracket final. So Blue Prep have now secured their spot there in the final. So well done to these guys. The pressure is now on for that final, and let's see what happens with the next match.
Right, so even though Crawford Santon was knocked out in the previous round, of course, they are already in the lower bracket final. So we are going to see the next match to see who will face Crawford Santon for that opportunity to face off again against Blue Prep in the final. Does that make sense?
Yes,
I just said it.
It does make sense, absolutely. So, of course, now the next match is between Crawford Lonial and Centennial Schools, right?
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one.
Now, this is going to be an interesting matchup, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I can't root for a specific school. Yeah, of course, you know, we're unbiased in every shape and form. However, if it does happen that Crawford Lonial wins, that will mean a all Crawford final, right?
Well,
which is
all
going
Crawford
to be
sort of lose a bracket final to see who will go
Yes.
through then.
Exactly.
But it is. And I mean, I know these schools have got some competitive spirit going between them as well. So that's going to be an interesting one if that does happen. But it's up to
Absolutely.
Centennial to see whether or not that happens.
And you know, this map that we are playing now is such a strategic map that, I mean, it can really go to anywhere. It will really go to the school that has the best strategy, right?
It really will.
So, I mean, let's see, right? I mean, a very exciting game. Crawford Lonial, Centennial Schools, they are busy readying up. We should be ready in the next few minutes, and then we will bring you that game. I think we're going to go to a short ad break, and we will be back with you when the players are ready.
To be the best.
To beat.
The best.
It's how my friends and I stay connected.
All over the world.
A place to really belong.
Unbelievable love day in and day out.
Because I love it.
It's an escape.
There's nothing else like it.
For that feeling of adrenaline.
To win.
How could you not like that?
Taking off, flying high like a spaceship. Take control, take a shot, what you're waiting for. Keep it real, never go fake this. So we make it.
And that's why
I game.
Second version telling you I'm ready to go, letting you know, cause I'm never below the ones that I roll with. Are incredibly known for getting down to the nitty gritty. If you really with me, let's go. Moves made.
So we are ready, and we are going to kick off this match in about 30 seconds. So let's see.
It's so exciting.
I'm telling you, Crawford Loniel has fought the whole day, so have Centennial.
5, 4.
And of course, the team that doesn't go through in this round will be out. So this is a
Correct.
do or die at this point.
Absolutely do or die, right? So Centennial Schools quickly heading off. So is Loniel. Both of them pushing for the flags. And I can see they're both heading into this into this parkour area. And there we go,
And
first
PvP.
PvP happening. First PvP happening there already. So we've got the Loniel player heading up into the parkour, heading for those first 3 flags. Those are, of course, I don't want to say the easier flags because the parkour is definitely not easy, but it is the easier flags to get compared to those flags on the water lift.
If you actually look to the left of the screen, you can see the Centennial player that is actually firing arrows at this Crawford character.
But I see Loniel has picked up their first flag. Now it's about trying to get to that beacon point. So Loniel heading through. I can see the flag carrier. There's some PvP action here. There is some protection going on. There's one protector there, and Loniel has scored.
Ooh, our first flag of the match. Oh, nice.
Oh, and
actually.
at the same time, Centennial also picked up a flag, and so have Loniel. Loniel now on 2, Centennial at 1. Multiple things happening
Ooh.
on this map at the same time,
So
and I can
much
see the
PvP.
archers coming through with the PvP action.
So that is a very interesting strategy for me. Send your archer in front of your flag bearer to take out the defenders.
Absolutely, this is exactly what's happening. Is the archer is actually detracting the attention from the protectors.
Ooh, not
trying
enough
to-
apparently.
Yeah, and trying to get that flag through to the designated area. So we're quickly doing a time and score check with our team. 13 minutes left on this map with a score. 2 for Loniel and 1 for Centennial at the moment is the score.
So we are basically
And
2 minutes,
Centennial
just over
just
2
scored.
minutes in here, and both schools now have 2 flags.
That's it. Centennial just scored, so the score's tied at the moment, 2-2. And they're fighting. These teams are fighting hard, right? But and Centennial just scored again, so 3-2 at the moment. So Centennial's trying to really try and open a gap there. But Loniel is keeping them at bay. I mean, I can see the Loniel players all being in defensive positions of those flags at the moment. We do have Centennial heading up for another flag, but just doesn't make it, falls down into that pit. So the players are really pushing. I can see there's another Centennial player trying to get up that parkour area. The Loniel archer is not going to allow that. He's firing his arrows at that player on the parkour section.
I almost feel like this round or this match is more of a rush to flags than it is any PvP.
Absolutely. So let's quickly have a look here. I think Crawford Loniel just picked up another flag.
Okay, so 11 minutes left and so many flags already. I'm just going to do a double check on exactly how many flags there are. 11 minutes left and so many flags already. I'm just going to do a double check on exactly how many flags there are. Alright, so we have confirmation. Centennial School has 3 flags still, and Crawford Lone Hill with 2.
So a very close game at the moment. Crawford definitely pushing to try and level out, but I see that again the strategy has now changed. I can see more Loniel players in defensive positions than before, and you've got the the Centennial team running 3 players at the moment, and Centennial has just scored, giving them 4 flags versus the 2 flags of Loniel. So Centennial, if they get 1 more, they will win. 5 flags will win them the game.
That's exciting. I think that'll be the first round so far, I think, where we'd actually get to full flags and ending the game.
In fairness, the previous game we did get to 5 flags, but within the last 10 seconds of
Yes.
the game. So, you know. So 5-minute call on the game at the moment. And Centennial is pushing to get that 1 more flag. So Lone Hill defending very... So defending very, very heavily from the Centennial side. They are defending so that Lone Hill doesn't pick up another flag, although in Centennial's case they really need to try and push for that last flag, but it's the flags that are very difficult to get. It's those ones that are on the water lift. So that jump from the water lift over to the flag is extremely hard to do. So let's see if they are going to push for that 1 more flag.
Centennial doing a very good job of defending here against Crawford Lone Hill.
Absolutely. So I'm just checking with my production team. We want to confirm the score at the moment as well as the time left. So Lone Hill still on 2. Centennial on 4. And about 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, so more than enough time. It's now selecting your strategy, whether they want to keep defending and keep their lead, or whether they want to push for that winning flag. And I think the call has been made that they have designated a player to try and push for that winning flag. And I think the other players are hanging back to defend. It does look like it if you look at the area, but look at some good defending going on here. And they look at what just happened. Lone Hill just equalized, and they are on 4 each at the moment. So they grabbed 2 flags, went running into that area and equalized. Lone Hill and Centennial both equalized at the moment, so now they are both pushing for that final flag. The first one to get to 5 will actually win the match. 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, so more than enough time in this match for one of these 2 teams to get the winning flag.
At this point, it's not about getting the winning flag. It's about whether or not the defense is up to the task.
Yeah, you see, that's the problem, right? If you have a very strong defense now, they will not get through. So let's check those areas and see who's going to be... Actually, I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's about defending at the moment and not really about getting the flag. I think getting the flag is probably the easy part. Getting through the defense, that's the hard part, right?
So it's going to be interesting to see how these schools actually distribute now. So are they going to send one person just to go and get the flag, and then leave the 3 of them to defend and make sure that the other players don't come through and actually plant their flag? Woo.
No, this is
It's
nerve-wracking. This is nerve-wracking, and look at this. There's. Let's see. I'm just doing a time check of the team. 6 minutes 20 seconds. Again,
Actually,
more
there
than enough
is
time.
there is another way that they can make sure. It's just to make sure that the other player, even if they do have the flag, is taken out right at the end and drops that flag.
They can pick up the flag and go towards their end. You're right. You're right.
Yes.
That could be a very smart strategy to apply to the teams as well. So let's have a look at what they are going to do. There's a lot of PvP action because I think everyone is trying to keep everyone else away from both the entrances as well as the flags.
The other complexity in this is if they do end up going to sudden death and they are in the middle of a PvP battle before that happens, they have to make sure that they give themselves enough time to heal up before they actually go into that sudden death, or
Correct,
they
because-
are at a disadvantage as well.
Absolutely, because remember, if it does go to sudden death, they will go to sudden death with their current life stats. So if they are low on health as they enter sudden death, it will mean that they will stay low on health in sudden death. So looking at the Centennial Schools cam here, remember this, both these teams have equalized on 4 flags each. And we have 5 minutes left on the clock. So again, more than enough time for any of these two teams to pick up another flag. But as you said earlier, Sika, I don't think it's about picking up the flag at the moment. I think it's about defending and making sure the other team doesn't get into your area with a flag, right? Both these teams are pushing very, very hard. Nobody's relenting or letting down.
That's where teams have to decide now. Do we just hold on that defense until sudden death and just go from there, or do they just push for that clutch victory at the end?
Exactly. Now, of course, the other difficulty as well in this map is that drop from the water elevator, if you miss the jump and don't get the flag, that drop actually does hurt a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually die from trying that over and over and over again.
Alternatively, if they are actually in sort of like a position where their health is low, they can actually fall off the top to get health for their sudden death.
Oh, look at this, look at this.
All right, so
Okay,
it did look like Blue did planted a
The
flag.
outcome of this match let's first consult with our match referees.
All right, so we just have to confirm on what actually happened, because there was a false plant that was done. Unfortunately, any breaking of blocks to get to objectives is not allowed.
So guys, if you give us a second, we are checking with the match referees just whether there was a breaking of the block when the false plant was done. So the team will confirm for us now.
All right, so
So
Jaco, while we're
unfortunately
going, do you want to explain the sort of idea behind why the breaking of the blocks is an issue in the esports?
So,
Ladies, please take your seats.
okay, so we hear from the match referee for a second. I'm just going to keep quiet.
With 2 minutes. With the scores tied 4-4, because unfortunately one team placed a block, broke and placed a block which is against the rules to get to their flag.
Right, so Charles is our match referee. So he's just informing us of what the status is. Okay. Alright, so it does seem that we are remaking the map. We are going to start the map at where it left off at 4-4. So at least no disqualifications or anything like that happening. We will start the map off at 4-4 with 4 minutes, I think, remaining on the clock. So effectively that missed plant unfortunately did break the block. That can of course not happen. So to ensure that the fairness of the game remains, we will restart the map at a 4-4 scoreline with 4 minutes on the clock. So these two teams will be pushing from exactly the same point as where they were.
Super exciting. Of course, you know, it wasn't an intentional breaking, so there was a warning issued, but unfortunately because of it we had to reset, and I suppose that's where we are at the moment. We're just waiting for the players to get into the new map.
The upside though is that these two teams do start off on level footing now, because they do
Yes.
start off on 4-4 and exactly at the start of the map on both sides.
And
So
it
they
does. It also gives teams a chance to just take a breath, think about the strategy, regroup, and go for it. And 2 minutes is not a long time, and they really have to sort of go all out in this point.
Absolutely. So there will be 4 minutes on the clock, and it will give both these teams an opportunity to race for those flags and do the final win.
All right, so it looks like we're going to go back now to the map.
9,
I hear the countdown.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Right, so can we have the crowd cheer on these two teams? They have to have these 4 minutes to determine who will win. Two of these teams going head to head. They have 4 minutes on the clock. Scores are equal 4-4. Who is going to go for that final flag and who is going to defend like crazy?
And of course, we are still down to the team basically that plants the last flag is going to take the win.
Exactly. So I see some archery coming from the bottom. There's some huge PvP action here on the water lift happening. It is a Lenovo player at the top. I think he's waiting for a jumper to see if they can make that jump to the flag. Unfortunately, doesn't make the jump there. I'm also trying to watch the Centennial camera here to see what they are doing on their side of the map.
It almost looks like Centennial wants to force that sudden death. So they're
Yes.
kind of hanging back and doing that defensive maneuvering, whereas Lone Hill's going for that flag, and they're going to make that play for that clutch.
But I see there is Centennial players that are interrupting the Lone Hill players on that water lift, not letting them get across that gap easily. Remember, these guys are both on 4-4 as a score. They're equal. If it happens that the 4 minutes run out, they will go to sudden death and it will be last man standing. So there's a bit of strategic play in this as well, because if they do go to sudden death, it's all about who has the most health when they get to that sudden death round.
Every time any of the other teams get up to the top of this water elevator, there is PvP action for days.
There's absolute chaos, and of course it's all about having the high ground, right?
There
I
we
mean,
go.
if you are coming into the water lift, you are coming in at a disadvantage if there's a player already on top. With 2 minutes left on the clock, the score of course still being 4-4, so there is a very good chance, unless somebody now makes a very big run for a flag, that this might go to sudden death. There's a lot of archery going on from the bottom. There's PvP when the players are at the top. I think the players are going absolutely crazy in their teams at the moment, trying to figure out what the best strategies are to follow here.
Of course, now as time gets like a lot less, players also have to think about their health before they go into sudden death. So if we do end up going into sudden death, remember their health does not get reset.
Correct. So whatever health they have at the time of sudden death will be what they get in the sudden death area. And of course, the sudden death area is all about last man standing. So the players will go head to head in a full-on PvP environment with the health that they have as they enter the drop-off. And there is 1 minute left, so we have 60 seconds. 60 seconds left. And let's see if there's a final flag. The scoring 4-4 at the moment. From what I can see, it does look like this could potentially go to sudden death for both these schools. Scoring on 4-4 still at the moment. Super exciting, right?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I can see that you're so enthralled. You're just keeping quiet. You're just watching the screen.
I'm actually watching so hard here that I'm actually forgetting to talk at all.
So I don't see 30
Alright, 30
seconds left. And then both these teams will head into sudden death. So now it's about really protecting your health and trying not to lose any more health, because if you are going to go into sudden death, you will need as much health as you have or as you can.
Or potentially making sure your character respawns before sudden death. So jumping off of
Absolutely.
a platform or something if you are already low on health, to make sure that you have maximum health by the time sudden death comes.
3, 2, 1. There we go. And what an interesting match. I mean, these teams were both on 4 and 4 points.
I'm tired. I can't imagine how these players feel right now.
Absolutely. So they were both on a score of 4 and 4. There was that missed map placement, which meant that we had to remake the map at a score 4v4, and with 4 minutes left. In the last 4 minutes, of course, no scoring could be done. So both these teams heading into sudden death. And now, of course, sudden death is about last man standing, right? So now
It is.
you go in with whatever health you had left at the end of the game, and that is what you get teleported into sudden death. And these two teams will now go head to head, full on PvP. Last man standing is who wins. So we will
We're
go
about to
in
spawn
10
in.
seconds.
Right players ready. In 10, 9,
10 seconds.
I can hear the countdown happening from the crowd,
4, 3, 2, 1.
and I
And it's fight to the
Go,
death.
and I need some
spawn in now.
cheers from the crowd here now. Support these players. They are in sudden death. Whichever color stands
It
at
is
the end of
chaos.
sudden death, it is absolute chaos. These
Ooh, the
players
crowd
are
is loving
just-
it.
These players are taking on each other head to head in sudden
And
death
it's
now. I
still
haven't
4v4
seen
at
numbers
the moment,
drop.
so we're good, we're good.
Oh.
3v4.
And the numbers are dwindling. There's been kills on both sides. It's 3v2. It's 3v2 at the moment. Who's going to win out here? There is a slight advantage from a number perspective, from Loneal's perspective. It is 3-2. Oh, it's 3-1. Can the Centennial player pull a clutch play and kill off those 3 Loneal players? But Loneal takes the win. Loneal takes the win. And in the
look
PvP
at them,
section
they're
there,
so
right
happy.
at the end, Loneal does take the win on that head-to-head.
Well
And I
done.
mean, that sudden death was just, I mean, it was so closely matched. And I think when it went 3-2, Loneal had 3 players, Centennial had 2. I think Loneal had a little bit of an upper hand, managed to get some health down on the Centennial players. And unfortunately, there at the end, that single Centennial player just could not be, just didn't have enough to compete against those 3 Loneal players,
It's,
right?
it's kind of like you can run all you want, but if there are 3 players chasing you, it's a matter of time.
But absolutely wonderfully well played there to Loneal. Guys, we will take a 5-minute intermission before we come back for the next match, and that will of course be between Crawford Santon and Centennial.
Sorry, Crawford Santon versus Crawford Lonehill.
Sorry, I apologize. Crawford Santon versus Crawford Loneal. There we go, guys, and we are back. So we obviously want to give you some very important information. The first thing is that we are now down to only 2 games left for today. Now, unfortunately, because of load shedding, we have to make some plans to ensure that we don't have games falling over load shedding. So we are going to have game 13 now. Then we will have to have a little break to allow for load shedding and do the finals right after load shedding. The problem with that is if we start the final match and everything goes down, it really doesn't work for the players. It's very difficult to get them back into the middle of a game. So we'd rather sacrifice the 5 minutes, have the power switch over, and then go into the final. We really do apologize for that slight delay. We are about 40 minutes behind schedule at the moment because of load shedding today, but we're doing our best to try and accommodate the players as well. It's just fair to the players to not let them play halfway and then have them drop on power, rather to give them a fair and full game. So we have to do our planning according to that as well. We will start the second last match now in about 30 seconds. Unfortunate about the load shedding, right?
Yeah, the load shedding is no one's friend. That's
Right.
all right. So
So the
this
players
is
are-
obviously a new map now.
Yes, absolutely. So this map is very, very interesting because it also has some, let's call them boss level players on, which
Some
are of
wardens.
course wardens, right? They are computer generated players that will try and prevent the players from getting to certain areas. So this is really, really exciting. This is the third and final map for today. In terms of the maps that you will see, and this map has been built with so much coding at the back end. It's absolutely amazing. Right, so the players are about to start.
Are you ready? for
There's
the final
going to be a
match?
countdown.
Oh, this actually really looks like a very pretty map.
Yes.
7, 6,
5, 4,
3,
2, 1. Right, so the players are off. We can see the players, they are in the area. Now, of course, they are actually going through a small, let's call it, it's actually called a grey area, where they are moving very, very slowly. And the reason for that is that there are the wardens that they have to watch out for, and they have to get on top of this playable area to be able to not move that slow. So we have Loniel, we're looking at the Loniel camera here, and their players are slowly progressing through that first part.
Do you
To
want to
the-
explain why they have to move so slowly to avoid the warden?
Well, the thing is with the wardens is if the wardens see them, the wardens will actually start attacking them. So they have to move really slowly to actually avoid the wardens. And you can actually see the wardens coming out there. They look like little beast characters. And the wardens will try and slow down the players and try and knock them off the map as well. Now, of course, this map does have a 15-minute limit for the players to get through this area. And I must tell you, it is very, very difficult with these wardens, right? Because the warden actually works in a couple of ways. The warden can either smell the players from a 20-block radius, he can see the players from a 15-block radius, or the warden can be activated by a player. So the wardens are on an attacking streak, and it does make it very difficult for the players to move across that plain section.
Right, and of course, warden, it's a 2-shot sort of kill, right?
Correct. So if the warden will get you once, and you will still be able to survive. But if he gets you a second time, that is a kill shot, right? Now what makes this part of the map really difficult is if you see it the way the camera is positioned, you can see that there's some players on the top level, some players at the bottom level, but you do not know where the warden is going to appear, right? The warden could appear at the top or the bottom level, and depending on where you are, you might get let's call it the short end of the stick if you want.
You know what actually makes it probably the most difficult for me is just the coloring of the blocks and the fact that yes, there's gaps between it, but as a player, like when you're actually looking at it in sort of like a 3D look, I mean it's okay to see it from here. You can kind of see where those blocks are and what level they're on. But when you're an actual player, those colors sort of meld into each other, and it makes it really difficult to know.
Yes. So just for those that are watching with us on stream, please understand that for us it is a lot lighter than for the players, right? So we have some additional light so that we can show you what's going on. But for the players playing on screen, it's actually quite dark. So you can imagine that you are in this dark dungeon. You are trying to not only fight the other team, but you every so often have a possible monster coming your way. So I think this is quite a scary map for the kids, actually. So let's see what happens here. Now remember, amidst all of this, there is still some capturing of areas going on. So Loniel has just scored their first flag in the midst of all of this going on. They've managed to secure a flag and they have managed to place it. So they're scoring 1-0 to Loniel at the moment. And guys, I want to emphasize for the spectators how difficult this map is for players, right? From our perspective, you cannot really see it because we lighten up the map. We give you a very good overview of where the players are, whether they are the top or the bottom level. But understand, for players, this is extremely difficult. They have a two-dimensional view from their perspective. They sometimes have a level above and below them. They have other players coming at them from a PvP perspective. There are wardens on all these levels trying to fight them back. So Loniel securing a flag there is an amazing job in this amount of time. This map has a 15-minute limit purely because we know how difficult it is for the players to be able to even find the flags, never mind peg the flags on this map. So very, very well done there. Loniel in the lead at the moment with 1-0 versus Crawford Santon.
Right, so it looks like we are getting a little bit of a PvP action here. So once the players all do get together, there's no threat of the wardens. I think the fight or flight instinct kicks in, and players are sort of getting to them.
Oh, and they just equalized. So Crawford Santon on 1 and Loniel on 1 as well. So head on head at the moment.
So this is a very interesting sort of dynamic here where the warden is actually right outside the Santon sort of area, and the player cannot get out because the warden is right there.
So I guess it's a matter of timing at the moment, trying to time it when the warden moves away from the gate to get out of there. Or of course they have to sneak, right? If they sneak, the warden won't hear them either. But then again, you get excited, the kids get excited, they want to run. So when they start running, the warden does hear them and he heads towards in their direction. Of course, these wardens completely randomized by code in terms of where and when they appear, if not done by sight or sound. So very, very, I always want to say challenging for the players. So we've just heard the call of 9 minutes on the stream. So 9 minutes remaining of this 15-minute map. At the moment, the scoring 1-1. So you can tell me, if you are captured in a dungeon with a warden, what is the reaction?
So if I'm part of a team, I am sacrificing someone. Someone is going to drive that warden away. They're going to run. They're going to draw the warden away, and the rest of the team can go for the flags.
Very interesting strategy, right? That's exactly what I would have done as well. From my perspective, you have 4 players. If you have somebody that can lead the warden in a certain direction and basically be a distraction, then that allows 3 other players to go for the flag and inherently go and pick up those flags and try and score. And as I say that, Loniel scores another flag, so 2-1 at the moment. Loniel on 2 versus Crawford Santon on 1. And just while I'm sitting here and I'm looking out at the crowd, I see the Lone Hill esports teacher who is eating his fingers at the moment. And I think he's concentrating so much he doesn't even hear that I'm talking about him, because the entire crowd is looking at the Lonial esports teacher crunching away, trying to support his team. And it's so great to see how invested these teachers are in the kids, in all of the work that they are doing behind the scenes that no one actually gets to see, as Crawford Santon is trying to make their way out of this area. We have Lonial on 2 and Santon on 1 at the moment. Both these teams being very, very distracted by this warden in this area. And we have 7 minutes remaining on the clock. So we're gonna. There is some PvP action going on the top level here as we're looking through the Santon cam. Oh!
And Lenovo takes the win. Going on to the
And
finals. Congratulations,
Lonial pushed in 2 flags at once, and they got their fourth flag, which means that they took the round, and that is absolutely amazing from the Lonial team there. And I mean, that was some interesting play, right? They had 3 flags in hand. They went straight for the win. They pushed through beyond the warden, dropped all. Sorry, it was 3 flags. Dropped 3 flags all at once, and I mean that was amazing play, right?
It's risky. It's a risky maneuver, but it really paid off at this in this one. Risk versus reward, and you got to risk it for the biscuit, apparently, in this case. And it worked out.
Absolutely. So, guys, what we are going to do is we are going to check with our production team. This particular map went a little bit faster than what we thought. There is potential that we might push in the final during the time. I think there's about 20 minutes left. I don't know if it will be pushing the final.
No, I think that's a bad risk versus reward. I don't think we should go for that one.
All right. So, guys, my production team has just confirmed with me that they think it's too much of a risk that we drop the final in the middle of the load shedding. So we will actually go to intermission. We will wait for the power to return to actually play that final. The production team is adamant that the risk is too great. So we will go to intermission, and when we are back, it will be with the final game on the map that you've just seen. So absolutely exciting. Please stick with us, and we will be back with you when the power is back. There we go. All right, guys, and we are back. We were waiting for load shedding. It seems that load shedding is not going to happen now based on the schedule that we had. So we decided to go on and push through to this final map. We have a few spectators who are hanging on by tooth and nail to support these teams, and we want to give them the best show that we can. So the teams are busy readying up. Now, for this last map, I want each and every single spectator cheering their heart out for these two teams who have fought over the last 2 days to get into the final. It's absolutely exciting for these two teams, and of course, the game is between Seeker. There we go. Now, remember what that means, though, right? Is that this is a double elimination tournament, which means that if Blue Prep should lose, they would have a second opportunity in a grand final. Because it is double elimination, right? So let's see what happens. And we're having a look at the standings. And you can see the standings over there. And as the teams are readying up, they are busy getting those final things ready. Again, we were expecting load shedding to happen, and that didn't happen based on the schedule that we had, so we decided to continue. And we are taking the opportunity to see if we can get this final map done and dusted. So we're just waiting for the teams to ready up. I think there's one more player to load in. We're checking with the production team.
Players, 30 seconds for the grand final. This is for the win and the Comic Con Cup. Are you ready?
Spectators, let us hear you. This is the final that is going to be played. These two teams have fought for 2 days.
8, 7,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And for the last time, they are off.
So, Sika, what do you think about this last map and these last two teams?
I think this is going to be a crazy, crazy exciting match.
Right, so production team are saying that your audio levels are back to normal, so you are obviously back on the stream.
It seems so.
And I've got some parents in the front row here that are really, oh, and look at that. But it does seem that the stream has stayed live. So
I think we just